I have adopted this grave many years ago when I was a kid. I have always been raised in respect of the veterans. This was something very important in our family. So for me it's really normal to have adopted this tomb, this grave, and I have also 5 other graves here on the cemetery. So I think it's a common practice in Belgium for people just to adopt graves in American cemeteries. And I think that for the family being in the States, it's also a kind of relief knowing that someone is taking care of their loved ones. His plane was hit around Brussels, coming back from a mission in Germany, and the plane crashed in Antwerp, in the northern part of Belgium. It seems that the pilot tried to have all his men bailed out of the plane, and we don't know what happened with Leroy. We don't know if he was hit and if he was injured and couldn't open his parachute, or if the parachute didn't open. So he was just found, his body was found in a field near a little village near Antwerp.
There is also a program here at Flanders Field, the Adopt a Grave program, and so anyone can adopt a grave. I also did that, and I think it's important that we know that those boys, in fact they were boys, most of them, and gave their lives for us. So I remember when I adopted a grave, the soldier was as old as my youngest son at that moment when he died. So that moves you when you think about it.
Whose grave did you adopt?
Ernest Arnold Sonville, and that's his name. He was an ordinary boy, but he had already experienced a very bad part in his life. His wife died when she was very young, and they had a little boy. And when the little boy was 4 years old, he had to register for the army. And he thought, well, as I'm a widower, perhaps I won't have to go. But that was no excuse, and he died here in a gas attack.
He stayed at her house. Il est resté, quand est-ce qu'il est allé chez vous?
Une quinzaine de jours.
So he stayed about 15
Yeah, a
days.
fortnight, oui.
And then they got called up near, in December, they got called up for the Battle of the Bulge. So he shipped out. Et vous avez reçu les nouvelles un mois plus tard? Vous avez reçu les nouvelles qu'il a
Oui,
tombé
ses
un
compagnons,
mois plus
ses
tard?
frères d'armes sont revenus chez nous.
Un mois
On
plus
dit,
tard?
oui, je crois, un mois plus tard, ils sont revenus.
So she's saying that about a month later after he left, his brothers in arms came back to the house to let them know that he had been killed in action.
Des histoires qui viennent surtout à la bataille des Ardennes.
She's adopted or Sentinel of memory for 9 graves, and the majority of them are from the Battle of the Bulge.
You're one of the people here who take care of keeping the memory alive of these soldiers. Talk about Mr. Murphy here.
Yeah, here I wanted to take care of the grave of Sergeant Murphy because this is a very sad case. He was killed in October 1944 while setting anti-personnel mine, killed by his own mine.
She came here in 1946 when the cemetery was open to the public, when we still had wooden crosses. So she has been visiting his grave since 1946. And she came here for Memorial Day, the first Memorial Day in 1946, where General Eisenhower was the guest speaker.
Behind those crosses you have people, and when you imagine that instead of having crosses you would have people, it's really terrible. And I think that we need to do everything we can to avoid the war and just to avoid people coming in and died for us.
Parce qu'il ne faut jamais oublier que s'il n'était pas là,
Where she lives, because parts of Belgium around here were annexed to Germany, so a lot of Belgians were under not only German occupation, but some of them actually became German citizens, although they didn't want to be. So they know that without the Americans, they would be Germans today. They would be, under the regime of Nazi Germany.
Why do you do this? Why do you continue to look after all of the ones you've adopted?
But well, I'm born in 1962, in 1962, all the people in my family, parents and grandparents, lived the World War II. At every family reunion, they finally talk about the war. My grandparents were in the Belgian army. After they talk about the liberation from the American soldier in September 44. And I think since the very beginning, it was fixed, like for Jean-Philippe, the same, fixed here. And so when I had the opportunity, when I met Jean-Philippe when I was 17 years old, and when he told me that he was searching the battlefield and finding equipment, I directly jumped in.
I mean, I wasn't born during the war, but when you see all those crosses here and all over Europe, it's very moving, I would say.
A lot of families have told her that she is the connection between the headstone and the family.
C'est bien.